Chelsea trashed West Ham United by 3-0. And while I think a lot of people will be looking at how bad West Ham were, I think Chelsea need to be given credit. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Despite West Ham's strong home advantage, they faced a Chelsea team that was determined to assert their dominance. West Ham's defense was put to the test right from the kickoff, as Chelsea's attacking prowess was evident from the early minutes of the game. Chelsea's good work actually came from their own goal and the build-up play that they would use to be able to exploit the space behind West Ham defense. So that's what Enzo Maresca want his team to play. It's all about possessional play, but really to create overloads to exploit space that is then left from encouraging the opponent onto them. Chelsea set up from their goal kicks and from their set plays with Levi Colwill and Tosin spreading wide. This allowed for passing options for Sanchez on a couple of different times. However, West Ham wanted to press them, so a couple of different things started to come up. Mohamed Kudus, Somerville, and Jared Bowen all started to press, but what Chelsea did so well is that they spread their back four and made sure there were spaces in between the lines. At the same time, we need to talk about Chelsea's midfield three, because instead of having a double pivot, Fernandes moved further up, and that meant he became something of attacking midfielder, along with Cole Palmer, who moved over to this right-hand side. So Chelsea instead looked something like a diamond midfield, with Jackson dropping deep. This pinned back both Alvarez and Rodriguez and created quite the distance between West Ham's midfielders and their attackers. This meant that Chelsea were then able to be a little bit more dynamic when it comes to receiving the ball. Caicedo came central, and then Paqueta got a big question to ask. Does he then go to Caicedo, or does he help press Colwill? If Colwill get pressed, Kudus then needs to worry about Cucurella, but at the same time Wan-Bissaka needs to worry about both Sancho and Cucurella. You can see the problem beginning to unfold. What ended up happening is that Paqueta moved forward a little bit. The pass to Caicedo was actually blocked, but then Palmer or Fernandes, depending on which side of the play Chelsea were looking towards, they would drop. And then when Bowen would try to cut off this pass to Colwill, if that passing option is cut off, then what you'll see is Sanchez move and pass to Palmer, and they were out. And then you're isolating this space here with Madueke, Palmer finding that pass. And the same thing happened on the other side. So for example, if Palmer held and pinned Rodriguez back right here, you've got Fernandes dropping a little bit deeper. If Paqueta and Bowen are on the other side to cut out Tosin, you've then got a pass to Colwill, but that needs to be closed down by Kudus. And you've got a free pass to Enzo Fernandez, who then can play in Sancho. And this happened time after time again and over again. You found the West Ham midfielders lacking. They failed to really match the intensity that Chelsea played with. They failed to match the aggression and the tenacity that they had. They essentially didn't turn up to the game. But it was the tempo that was set by Chelsea in this game that allowed them to really get a big foothold in this match. And it was the build at play that allowed them to start so very positively. And this is seen really clearly for Chelsea's second goal. So let's take a moment and just break down what's actually happening right here. So you've got Chelsea in possession, you've got Levi Colwill right here, is about to play the ball into Enzo Fernandez, but what's going on? So from a West Ham point of view, you've got your right winger, you've got your striker, and you've got your left winger. Not too bad in terms of positioning. You can also match them up to the players who are currently on the ball. But what else have you got? You've got Marc Cucurella, who's made a movement in field. He's gone from that left back spot, and he's gone and taken up a position centrally. This is to create Enzo Maresca's overloads using his inverted fullbacks. And what's happened? We've seen Paqueta take this, he's taken the bait, and he's making sure that Chelsea can't pass through the center. But to combat this, Enzo Fernandez drops a little bit deeper away from his attacking midfield role now, because we know that Cucurella and Caicedo are partnering each other, and he's dropping a little bit deeper. So to combat that, West Ham decided that they wanted to be a little bit more aggressive. They wanted to start marking a little bit heavier. And what do you see here? Let me just highlight this for you guys. What do you see here? You see Mavropanos jumping from his position to try and combat this. Now, Enzo Maresca has talked about what happens when the opposition center backs jump. And he's talked about the space that's left isolated once this happens. And he wants his players to play really quickly. So once that space gets isolated behind Mavropanos, you've got danger for the opposition. And you've got Chelsea in a really, really good position. Mavropanos jumps. Enzo Fernandez plays the ball. He's too quick for Mavropanos. He's too much. So Caicedo is going to pick the ball up. And because Paqueta is marking, Cucurella is not ready to be able to intercept that path. You could argue that he should. But there are a lot of things that West Ham should have done in this game that didn't. But Chelsea were really fast, they were dynamic, they were really intense, and Caicedo gets the ball. The moment that Caicedo gets the ball, he's looking for this pass forwards, and he's looking for this pass forwards, because like I said just a second ago, of the space that Mavropanos has left. So Caicedo plays that ball forwards. And then what are we looking at? We're looking at Nicholas Jackson, because here he is ready to run onto that path. Alvarez is too flat, he's too horizontal, he's not being in vertical play with his fellow midfielder. You could argue there are actually too close together in this particular instance, because neither of them are marking Cole Palmer here, or Nicholas Jackson just off your screen. They play it through, and then you've got a 1v1 situation with Nicholas Jackson and Max Kilman. And Max Kilman, for all of his quality, is not the fastest of players, so he's going to struggle. But just look at the space here that I mentioned. Look at the space that's been left by Mavropanos jumping. And this is down to the technical aspect that Chelsea had, the movement off the ball, the ability to find pockets of space. And you also, at the same time, you've got Cole Palmer right on this right-hand side, ready to give some support to Nicholas Jackson. In this particular scenario, he doesn't need it, and he plays on, and he finishes it perfectly. But it's all down to the movement, the positional play, and the possession that Chelsea had that was just too much for West Ham. We can of course take a look at the first goal as well, and it was very much of the same isolating space, isolating those duels that running in behind. I mentioned that left channel earlier, didn't I? And I mentioned how Chelsea really isolated. I thought Sancho did a really good job. But look at the aggression from Mavropanos here as well. Look at this. Look how high they are. That's nowhere near the halfway line. This is one of your midfielders. It's just far too much, and I think this is why Julen Lopetegui was being so annoyed with this. They also don't switch on to a situation that ends up really, really hurting them later on. Look at them not paying attention. Not paying attention. Not really paying attention. He's jogging back. He's not looking at the ball. It's just nowhere near good enough. But from a Chelsea perspective, they're switched on. They're clued in. They're ready to go. They're ready to go next. And then what are you looking for? You're looking at Nicholas Jackson's 1-2 with Jadon Sancho, who plays it perfectly around the corner. Really well done. Look how high this West Ham line is. West Ham players, these West Ham players cannot play this high line. He's not fast enough. He's not fast enough, and neither is he. And Aaron Wan-Bissaka, for all of his recovery ability in the tackle, he's not essentially the fastest of players either. It just seemed like madness to me when I was watching this live. It just seemed crazy. Jadon Sancho with a perfect pass around the corner, and then you've got Nicholas Jackson in again. But the amount of time that Nicholas Jackson has to drive with the ball is not only brilliant from him, but it's terrible from West Ham. He drives on, and this is what I'm talking about with the intensity. Chelsea's intensity was just far too much. He drives. Look at the amount of space that he's got. No West Ham player is anywhere near him. It's brilliant. It's fantastic. And then you're asking for his 1v1 with the goalkeeper, and he finishes it pretty perfectly. I might add, for all the people saying that Nicholas Jackson doesn't have a finishing foot in him, I beg to differ. And to wrap this all up, let's take a look at the third goal. What are we seeing? It's pretty similar. What are we seeing? We're seeing space. We're seeing West Ham players running towards their own goal. Yeah, you've got one here, one here. It's again from a foul that gets caused, and it's all about the intensity. Nicholas Jackson driving with the ball, taking on that space. This is your last defender, I might add. Just think about that. Think about the position in Chelsea's half that West Ham are. That's Kilman. Look at the distance between the two. That's Emerson. It was all over the place. Shocking. Shocking. But from a Chelsea point of view, it was fantastic. And the drive from Nicholas Jackson was pretty brilliant as well. He goes, takes that space, and this is what I've been so impressed with Chelsea in this particular instance at the start of the season. They take space, they take their opportunity. Look at Madueke driving into this space. It's very easy just to watch this happen. Really easy. Look at Jackson. He's committing players, he's driving into space. Palmer, he makes the outside run because he knows that Emerson is running this way to try and cover off the center of the pitch. He makes that extra run, but also at the same time, it's putting Palmer onto his left foot. Jackson realizes this and must get a shout, but it's the determination and the drive. This is a 3v2. The intensity from Chelsea was just there today, and it was brilliant to see driving around the side. It was fantastic work. And then you're asking, can Cole Palmer finish? Do I need to say that again? Can Cole Palmer finish? You bet he can. It's a fantastic goal. Fantastic shot to the top left-hand corner, just clips the bar and goes in. Goals always look better when they come off the woodwork, and it was just brilliant. Penny for his thoughts, because I can't imagine he's too happy, but he is ecstatic, and I'm sure so is Enzo Maresca. Chelsea were fantastic today, but I want to know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below on this game and how you saw it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this breakdown, be sure to like, subscribe, and check out our analysis of Chelsea's previous matches